So if you all could remember when we first started looking at houses, and we usually ask those questions, okay, what's most important to you about looking for a house? And we usually talk about like what are some have-to-haves, what are some want-to-haves. Can you remember what was really important to you? I remember one of the things that you wanted to stay under $200,000.
Right.
Which we might have.
No, it was. I believe it was less than that when we.
It was like 180 or something.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how you have this good memory, but yeah, you're right.
I remember it was cheap.
Which we landed on.
Which we did. The rehab cost ended up going a little bit higher than that. But yeah. And then can you remember any of the other stuff that was really important to you when you first started looking?
Yeah. Because it was you and I and Steven.
Yeah.
Right? And so we were in your office or something, and we pulled up a map, and I just pulled up like the world's tiniest square on this map, and I said, okay, here's the house, here's the amount of money that we can spend, and it needs to be within this square.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a whole lot of other things that we were looking for other than that tiny square.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that tiny square had like a bunch of $300,000 houses.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we started looking around at a lot of $300,000 houses. I remember we had the classic conversation we usually have about price, condition, location. As we're looking at real estate, it's good to remember price, condition, location. And this is the price you want, and this is location. And I remember thinking this might not happen. I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic. We're gonna look, we're gonna try. But I'm not sure if it's gonna happen. But we're gonna.
You were kind of thinking though that it wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah, I was.
You're like, we're gonna go hang out with the Lodens, and there's no shot that we're gonna buy a house. But
I remember sending you one that was on the way over to the YMCA on the main street.
Oh yeah.
I remember we almost liked it, and you were looking at it, and you were like, I kind of like it.
It wasn't in the square, man.
But it wasn't in the square.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this is Sumner, and you were like, yeah, it's not in the square, but it's in the price or close to it. But it wasn't in the square. And then this one came up.
Yeah.
So when the first time you saw this house, was it one? Do you remember that you were like, oh, this is it, or was it like, oh, I don't know if we can make this work?
We looked at that house, the one that you're talking about, the YMCA. We probably looked at like 7 or 8 houses, and we probably put like 4 or 5 offers on homes. We put an offer on a home that was on Kincaid that we were like pretty certain that there's a chance we would get. And then we had that Thompson house that was a for sale by owner that we were like going back and forth with forever.
For like $3,000. Like,
yeah, exactly. That was wild. So hey, if you're watching this lady that was selling that house, I hope that we were all happy. But anyways, I think that like I was at work and this and another home. In fact, it was the home that there was the dead rooster in. Yeah. Those 2 homes came up the same day, and I think that you like texted Cathy and I like look at these 2 houses that happen to be in your price range. One has a dead rooster in it, and one's like this foreclosed house.
It's like a pile of blood on the floor.
Yeah, that was crazy. But so I think that at that point we were just trying to be optimistic about anything that came our way because we knew that within our price range there was very slim pickings.
Yeah.
And so when we first came and looked at this house, it was in the location that we wanted. It was obviously in the price range that we wanted, and as far as like the lot and things like that, surpassed our needs.
Yeah.
But yeah, we pulled up outside the house, and it was just like, I don't know. You're always just waiting for that catch. Like, what's the issue going to be with this house? And from the outside, you already saw
waiting for the surprises.
Majority of the problems, and so I don't know. Yeah, at that point, we just had to use our imagination. I guess.
Yep.
So.
And then I remember walking into this house the first time and just feeling like I was under the influence of something. Walking towards this back right corner, you just kind of follow and I might have even used a laser level or something. Maybe it was Paul that did or something.
Yeah.
And set it up. And what was the difference? It was like 8 inches.
It was 12 inches from
12 inches.
From the high point to the low point. So high point being like about close to where we're sitting, and low point being like the opposite side of the house.
Yeah, and so and Valley House is always the conversation that we have as we're like looking around downtown Puyallup, downtown Tacoma, downtown Sumner. Hey, these houses are gonna have some fluctuation.
Right.
Some variation within the foundation, but 12 inches.
Yeah. I'd say roof, the rewire, and the foundation were like the big 3 that need to get done, and then everything else was just like, smaller things. And so when we started to dig into those smaller things, at least for us, it was like, hey, if we're gonna like, if we have to reformat this doorway anyway, we're just gonna knock out this wall.
Yeah.
And a lot of it we had our contractor Drew came out and was really helpful with a lot of that stuff because for us we just saw things on paper that we were told we needed to take care of, and sometimes it's hard for me to initially visualize what that could look like. So like, hey, you guys can't have this bathtub in here anymore. because it's cracked. So I'm like, well, dang, we're just gonna have to replace this bathtub. And then someone like Josh or like Drew can come in and say, you don't have to just take out that bathtub. While the bathtub's out, we can actually kind of like reformat this bathroom for the same amount of work and make it a lot cooler and a lot more able to fit your needs. So yeah, once we started picking stuff apart, we were able to, I guess, put it back together in a way that suited us much better than it would have before.
So as we were looking, we finally found one that was like within the budget, and we said, okay, we were looking at this, and we found one that's like just enough underneath your budget. Yeah. Took a look at it, and then we talked about price. And of course, as a real estate agent, it's always a hard conversation to be like, hey, let's put in at 110% or more, or whatever the price was of it. Right. But knowing what the market was and the difference between list price and market price, we talked about that, and you said, yeah, I think we can maybe make that work. Yeah, what were you feeling coming in at above list price?
Yeah, so this was a FHA HUD home, which I'm gonna educate you right now, Josh. So you feel free to edit me if I'm wrong, but it's an FHA loan that's been foreclosed, right? And so it's controlled by the FHA, and so they put it on the market as a HUD home, HUD, all caps. That's right. They throw it up for like the minimum that they would accept for the home, and so you have 10 days to put your amount that you're willing to pay in. And I remember when we walked into this house, we were like the first day it was on the market. And when you come to a house, when you come into a house to check it out, it's like normal for the realtor to put their card on the table, right, to show that they had been there. And like I said, this is like the evening of the first day it had been on here, and there was like 20 cards on the table. So that gave us a clue that this house was like fairly hot. You want to beat everybody else's bidding, but you don't want to beat them by more than you have to,
right?
Because there's no saying what the second place guy is throwing down. So we were standing in the place and trying to figure out what we should throw down, and Josh was telling this story about how there was this house that he and his wife looked at that was listed at the exact same price. I was like, Josh, what do you think this house is worth? What do you think it takes to win? And he's like, well, here's how much we gave to the house that we were looking at, and we won. And he didn't say that we should do that, but he just gave us that little bit of advice. So we ended up putting 16 and a half more than what the house was listed as. And after 10 days, we got a call, and he said it's yours.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I remember even feeling surprised, like, we'll give it a shot, but this is crazy. Somebody could just go all out. Because
there's cash folks and all that sort of stuff.
Yep. So we got the call from Dawn, the other listing agent.
Oh, Dawn.
And then I gave you that call and said, hey, it's yours. And then
at that point I'm like, I'm out. No, but I remember that being like more frightening than having you call and say that it's a no-go.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the whole process for the rehab took how long from the time that you closed on this house, and it was just a total turn, to the time that you really had the home that you wanted. Weren't you trying to get them by Christmas or something at the time?
Oh no.
Or get them by like a specific date?
I think, yeah. We wanted to be in the next day, I think, probably. We closed June. So we put our offer in I guess, May.
Yep.
It was kind of about this time. We're coming up on a year. And then we closed in June, and then we moved in. So what actually had to happen was they accepted our offer, and then at that point it's up to us to figure out our end. And so in the rehab process, you have to have somebody come out and bid the entire job,
the whole project,
which we figured out is quite a bit of work for somebody to do, especially with the requirements that the lender needs and things like that.
Yeah, and even getting the bids was like pulling teeth.
Right, exactly. So they had to come out, bid the entire project, submit that bid to the lender, and then the lender takes the price that you're paying for the home, and then the bid from the contractor, puts those two numbers together, and then that becomes your total loan amount.
Yep.
That you would pay, your total mortgage that you would pay on. And yeah, we had our buddy Drew come out and bid the entire project. It was accepted by our lender, and then we started. That was like more stressful. That was like the most stressful deal of the whole deal. It's like you know, it's crunch time. Like they're like waiting on you. I think we got an extension of a few days at one point. Because they're waiting on paperwork. But yeah.
And then you closed on it. You got a rehab. Yeah. You moved in. Got all of your wants taken care of, and then all of your needs, and then some of the wants even.
Right. Yeah.
Moved into home, and you've been here for how long has it been now that you've been here?
So we've been here. Well, so it's been a year since we since our offer was accepted.
Yeah.
And we've lived in the house for what 8 months or whatever.
And then so what's the goal for the house from here? Do you think you'll be here for the next 30 years, or just get this sucker refied, get rid of that mortgage insurance?
Yeah, this house is exactly, location-wise, exactly where we want to be. My only fear is that we would outgrow it. We just have one bathroom in here. But the way the house is situated in the lot and the size of the lot, we can potentially add on.
Oh, yeah?
And there's also a big attic space we can add on to. So ideally, we stay in this house forever.
Yeah.
And just live the Sumnertown dream, I guess.
Living the dream of Sumnertown. Right on. Any advice that you would give to other people like you that are in the process, looking for something, kind of figuring out, do I want to do a rehab? Do I want to do a cosmetic fix or a full-on fixer? Anything or advice that you would give yourself looking back?
Yeah, I think when we first looked at this house, there's a lot of fear of the unknown, which I think is, definitely appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed weird when we would have guys come out here and we would see the extent of what needed to be repaired. So for example, the foundation was like slouching an entire foot, and someone would come out here and it's like, oh yeah, we just push that thing up, do this and that, and we'll be out, in 2 days. And I'm like, man, is that actually gonna, is the house gonna fall over once you push it back up? And so there's definitely a little bit of fear in all of that. And I guess the reality is it's not his first day doing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, for us, we were able to get so much more out of the home doing what we did than if we were to spend the same amount on a home that's ready to go. So yeah, I would say if you have $10 to spend on a home, and there's this home that's out there for $8, and you feel like you can put $2 more into it and make it way cooler than all the houses that are out there for the initial $10. I'm not sure if you're following this, but at least I am. For us, that was like way more desirable. I felt like we could get so much more out of our space, way more. We could cater to our needs a lot more easily than if we just went out and bought a place where we were capped out.
Yeah. And so now you're at a fantastic position. You, obviously had a little bit of equity when you got into it immediately. The markets continue to progress a little bit well, but you even a little more comfortable position. Yeah. And I won't tell everybody your financial portfolio, but
we are so rich. I just want you guys to know how rich we are, man.
But it puts you in a good position, a position of leverage, an opportunity to really use your imagination and let that benefit you in the long run, and finding a home that, if this was on the market when we were looking, certainly would have been significantly more competitive and going for more money than what you were going in at. So that's pretty exciting. So congratulations to you all.
Hey, thank you, Josh. Couldn't have done it without you.
Hey, thank you so much for your time today. Congratulations again. I look forward to dropping by again in the future.
Hey, anytime you want to mow the lawn, I'm available, man.
Check it out. Check out that
I'll
red.
leave you a key.
That red. What is it called?
The red thread. You didn't even bring that up. We have a fun guy in our yard, and not like a fun guy, like a cool guy. It's just like a fungus. So anyone out there wants to come take care of that on the house. By that I mean free. Feel free.
Or you have tips, other people in the Sumner area for
how about some landscaping tips? Everybody here has way cooler yards.
We'll have you debut of the Lodens on the PNW newsletter, and we'll talk through some landscaping tips.
Hey, there you go.
As a seasoned homeowner.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Say thanks, Georgie.
It's been a pleasure.
Say sorry, it's past nap time.
Thank you.